Alright, I've been into surplus firearms and different things like bayonets and ammunition for a few years. Not really ammunition so much. Maybe the last 2 or 3 years I've started picking up some surplus, maybe collectible ammunition here and there. And I didn't know a whole lot about this when I bought it. Sometimes I know, I research stuff and I look for it specifically and buy it. Sometimes I just see something and I think, yeah, I'll just buy it, and I buy it, and then I learn about it later, do research about it later. And this is something I've ran across like 5 boxes of this, and it was pretty cheap, so I bought it, and then I figured I'd find out what it was later. I knew it was 303 British. I didn't know who made it, where it was from. It says 19th of April 1967, so that's when it was made. 303, and it said it was in 2 chargers, which was cool because I've got a couple guns that shoot the 303 British, and I thought, yeah, that's cool, get the chargers and everything. But what it comes in came in 2 packs. There's two 5-packs on the chargers in there, and that's a charger. And then I got to looking at the head stamp, and well, it's not going to focus. It's not going to, let's see. Anyways, there we go. POF, which is Pakistan Ordnance Factory. 67, of course that's the year it was made, and then the 7 is for the Mark 7 actually cartridge, Mark 7 bullet or cartridge. And the interesting thing about these, if you don't know a whole lot about them, of course there's a little bit of rust or whatever there. I don't know. Some of these I'm gonna look them over. I think I'll end up doing a second video if I've got some that are look like they can be shot, and I'll probably shoot them, do some chronograph and stuff. But that one there looks pretty good and clean. But one thing about these, when you shake them, you can't hear anything. There's no movement, there's nothing. I mean, they're solid. And I got to reading about them a little bit, and I had a couple books that I'd bought, and I hadn't really read them much, and then I found some stuff online. But this is one book that I had, and I bought it, and I kind of skimmed through it a little bit. But these are decent books. They got a little bit of, they're not real in depth, but they got some good information in them. And if you don't know about the British, they used propellant. Of course, this is the first cartridge here. They had black powder. Then, like most people, went from black powder to some sort of smokeless powder, like 1886, 1890. Mostly in 1890s, pretty much everybody was using some other type of smokeless propellant, similar to, maybe not exactly like what we use today, but pretty similar. Except for the British, they were using this stuff. Strands, it's Cordite, which I did some more research on it, and this is a good website here, History of 303 British. And the Cordite, it says, became the propellant from 1891, and they actually used it, as you can see, up until the 60s. It consisted of 58% nitroglycerin, 37% nitrocellulose, and 5% mineral jelly. Normally formed into a rod, but tubular, tape flaked, and sliced were also used. And then their theories was it lasted better, in the jungles as the tropics. It says nitrocellulose, which is the more modern propellant, was not considered to be as stable as cordite in the tropics, and this cordite was still retained as a propellant in military cartridges for the remainder of the cartridge service life. So that's pretty interesting. And if you don't know, I went ahead, and it took me a while with my little Frankfurt Arsenal bullet puller here. It took me quite a while, but I got one of these bad boys open, and there's the cordite right there. It's pretty much what it looks like in the picture. And then of course on top of the cordite you had this little cardboard paper type of wad, and then there's the bullet, the Mark 7 bullet, which I've read other things about the Mark 7 bullet, and it's they actually say the end of it, which it is weird, you can kind of feel the end of it feels really light, almost like it's hollow. And on most of them, I think they used aluminum in the end of it. From like here up, they used aluminum, or they used some sort of wood and paper mixture. You know, and when I read about that, it said they autoclaved it, so you know, if you got shot, that it wouldn't produce a infection, or you wouldn't get an infection from it or whatever. But I don't think that's probably going to be the main concern if you get shot with one of these. But what the light nose, what they say it did is, when the nose, of course, is lighter, and when it hits, it makes the bullet naturally tumble. And when you get the tumbling, you know, you get a worse wound, you get a bigger wound channel and everything. But I put these on the calipers, and you know, it's actually comes in about 3. Oh yeah, I see it there, 311. It's about 3. Yeah, there was 312. It's supposed to be about 311. But that's 174 grain bullet. And then here's another picture out of the other book with the bullets. You know, there's the Mark 7 bullet there. And then that's the one where they went to the boat tail there. That's the Mark 8, the last pattern. And you can see that actually they had a hollow point bullet before the Hague, I guess, convention or whatever, they outlawed those. And then this is a Mark 5. No, let's see, this is a Mark 6, and this is a Mark 7. So there's the Mark 7 bullet. And then it's kind of interesting. It's got the it doesn't list all of them, but it lists several of them, you know, and it's got the there you see the Mark 7. It was a date 1911 is when they adopted it. The filling is Cordite, bullet weight 174, type Spitzer, and they list the velocity as 2750 feet per second. So that's pretty good. And even the, you know, the nitrocellulose that they started using in 1917, the more modern powder, they're pretty much listing it at the same velocity. And it was only until 1939 where they went to a I think that's more for like the machine gun, where they loaded it a little hotter at 2900 feet per second. So you can see the Cordite, you know, you're getting a pretty good charge, pretty good velocity out of that Cordite. So I don't know, I think I'm gonna probably do a second video, and where I can find some of these that'll actually look like they're okay to shoot, and I'll probably shoot them and then see what kind of velocity I can get. I've heard different things about it. I've heard some people, they have some hang fires, different things. I'm not gonna do anything crazy. I'm gonna look them over real good. I'm gonna see if I can find you know, find a few that look pretty good, and then you know, I'll shoot them and see what I can get. I've got a couple different guns. I've got this gun. It's a U.S. property, Savage Stevens Enfield number 4 Mark 1 Star. So I'll probably try that one, and get the chronograph out and see what I can do. See you know, if I can find 3 or 4 to shoot. But that's just a real interesting thing I ran across. You know, if you're into reloading, I don't know how in the world you would ever reload this. Actually, I read somewhere, I think online, where they put the Cordite into the case and then necked the case, made the shoulder, and then, you know, formed the rest of it after they already got the Cordite loaded in there. Because I mean, that stuff is so tight. It, you know, it took me quite a few whacks just to get it to stick out that far. But very interesting propellant. that the British used, for several years up into the 60s. And actually, Wikipedia, I think it said that the U.S. used this for the ignition, I think for the Little Boy nuclear bomb. But interesting thing, I don't know. Hopefully somebody found this somewhat interesting. Maybe you learned a little bit. Shoot me some comments if you know anything about the stuff, or if you ran across it, or just seeing anything that might be of interest. Thanks for watching.